This episode is dedicated to a young man who had a vision about his life. He envisioned himself as a doctor and a real estate mogul. He has impacted my life in so many ways. One of the very few male role models that I've ever had. This one is for you, cousin. Thank you for teaching me to be a visionary. I love you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leverage TV, where making business relative is our objective. My name is Jamill Cooper. I am the host of Leverage TV. I am also the owner of Leverage Accounting LLC. We serve a plethora of clients. Specifically, our services that we offer are bookkeeping, tax preparation. I also do some advanced Excel spreadsheet development. So if you're interested, just log onto the website, check it out. But I've been in business since 2016. Not only do I have experience, over 7 years of experience in the accounting profession, but I have an associate's in business, and I also have a bachelor's in accountancy. Um, I've always had a fascination for business, which is for business and understanding how it works, which is why we're here today, because I want to share the knowledge that I've gained over time. My goal today is to make business relative by understanding our first characteristic of a successful entrepreneur. And so, the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur is a series of conversations that I'll be having with entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds and walks of life to express, to kind of give you guys an idea of what does it mean to be an entrepreneur, and what are some skills that you can develop to be an effective entrepreneur, right? Um, and so today we're going to be discussing visionary. I believe that every entrepreneur has to be a visionary, right? I'm going to go more in detail in a minute about it. Um, but when you look around the world, and some of the most renowned entrepreneurs are are recognized as visionary leaders, right? Because they have led their organization to a profitable place, right? For the most part, many of them. I'm talking about your Elon Musk. I'm talking about your Steve Jobs, your Tyler Perry's, and there's a plethora. Oprah. There's a plethora of entrepreneurs out there that have opened businesses around the world, and that has changed lives, right? Um, and so, um, in fact, talking about this idea, being a visionary. So let me I just want to make this statement. In fact, companies do not just pop up, out of thin air. Companies arise from some crazy revolutionary idea that someone had. And the reason why I say crazy revolutionary idea, a lot of times people don't understand the site or the idea or concept that someone has, right? We call these ideas visions, right? Because it had not yet just manifested. I think about Thomas Edison with the light bulb. He had a vision about about constructing a light bulb, right? Um, it was just an idea, but somehow, in some way, he was able to take that idea and make it reality, right? So now we have lights. I mean, you probably can't really see like the background, but yeah, but you can see I have lights like all over if you were sitting here with me, right? And so we use those lights every day, right? And so it's crazy, right? It was a crazy idea, and I bet I can imagine how many people probably stated to him like that doesn't work. That's not gonna work. I don't know what you're doing. You're crazy, right? And it's revolutionary. And the reason why I say revolutionary is because anything that is revolutionary is groundbreaking, right? It takes us from one level to another level. I can imagine, like, can you imagine like the shift from the Stone Age to what we know as the millennial age, where technology is at its top of where technology is literally at the top of the world, right? The technical world is basically shifting and changing lives. I mean, and so most companies, they don't, just come up out of nowhere, but there's someone who had an idea and one, they were able to monetize that idea, right? And so people who have visions, the person carrying such an idea is what we refer to as a visionary, right? And so we're going to discuss what a visionary is. I'm going to pull up a slideshow. Um, this always helped me kind of like communicate some of the ideas that need to be communicated. Okay, so a visionary is a creative leader inspired by what starts off as an unexplainable thought. Um, and that thought can be a thought about a product, a thought about a service, an invention, or even a process, right? Because people are capitalizing on off of developing processes that he or she journeys to establish in the future. And so they come up with these ideas, but the end goal, they have an end goal um, to develop it so that it exists in the future. It may not exist currently, but the idea is to get it off the ground, right? And um, so a visionary is an individual um, who has a vision, and a vision is achieved by a compilation of missions, right? So when I say a compilations of missions, I mean that there had to be like some level of groundwork in order to get it to get the vision to come alive. And most of these visionaries had to deal with failure, and they had some wins. You know, you have successes and failures. But I want you to think of the vision as literally the war, right? And then I want you to think the missions as the battles, right? Because there's this quote where it talks about how don't worry about the battles. It's literally the war that makes the difference. So you can lose some battles, but if you win the war, that means that you have accomplished your goal in obtaining the I guess you can say the land or whatever it is that you're trying to obtain, right? And so we want to think of vision as foresight, casting for the future. But we want to think of mission as what it takes for you to get the vision running, what it takes for you to get the vision alive, right? And so I also want to talk about what a visionary is not, right? A visionary is not controlled by the unbelief of others. And so a lot of times, many of us have ideas, and sometimes you just have to shut those people out because you can't be controlled by their unbelief about you being able to accomplish the task, right? I think Steve Jobs did a heck of a job with it. Who's the owner? Bill Gates did a hell of a job with it. I mean, I can imagine that they had people tell them that it's a really dumb idea for you to even achieve or to even think of thought like that and think that it's possible to get these computers or these cell phones off the ground, right? So you can't be controlled by the unbelief of others, right? You have to have the ability to believe in what you are dreaming about getting done. And so, and visionaries are not comfortable with the status quo. Visionaries are not comfortable with the status quo. And so we seen how the cell phone went from being a rotary phone, and then you had the landline phone, and now we have what we know today as cell phones, right? We can walk around with them. We can be anywhere, take them in the bathroom, wherever we want to go. Cell phones are literally, how can I say? Cell phones are literally cell phones are literally a part of our everyday life. And so you can't be comfortable with the status quo at being a visionary, right? And so also, a visionary gets to a point. Remember where I stated earlier that a visionary, some in the beginning, I stated earlier in my definition is that a vision is often unexplainable. But you get to a point where you are able now to communicate your message. right? To communicate their message, to communicate or be able to teach people about your product, right? And so a visionary is not unable to clearly communicate their message. And so that's what we're going to get to a point where we develop a product and we be able to communicate what it is this product does and why this product is very important, or why this service is very important, or why this process will be revolutionary for us, right? So a visionary should always know how to communicate what was once unexplainable. What was once unexplainable, we have to make it explainable, right? Um, and a visionary does not quit under pressure. Actually, pressure is necessary. Is it? I look at pressure as a necessary sacrifice, right? And so you may not have the funds, you may not have a lot of things that you need to get the thing to get the idea off of the ground, but what you have to do is not give in to pressures, right? And it's going to take sacrifice. And you may have a mildred of things or experiences that some of you are experiencing right now. You may not understand why you're experiencing it, but it all kind of maps out. Um, it all kind of maps out so so that your story is even more powerful as you're casting uh, your vision, right? And a visionary is not limited by what they have and they don't have, right? And so as a visionary, you have to find out ways to achieve exactly what you need to get the job done or to get the idea. And some people, it's funding. For some people, it may not be funding, but it may be a group of intellects that help you bring the idea about, right? Or, so, and so, um, what I also want to talk about now is how vision is inspired, right? How vision is inspired. And there are a plethora of ways that vision can be inspired. For those of you who are faith based, vision may be inspired through your faith, right? Visions may be inspired by a dream, or visions may be also inspired by pain points. And so, pain points literally are issues, and you finding solutions to those issues. And so, I have a pretty good individual to kind of talk about um, as an example, who was a visionary. He casted a vision when he was younger. And this man is phenomenal. So let's talk about Reginald Lewis, right? Reginald Lewis, I would consider him to be a visionary. Reginald Lewis is probably the first Black man to run an international um, conglomerate billion-dollar company, right? And so Reginald Lewis was born in what we know to be Baltimore, Maryland. And Baltimore, Maryland is a bit rough, but there are so many stars living in that era. And so Reginald Lewis um, was born like during the segregation times in 1942, and he lived in Baltimore, Maryland. He grew up there. Um, but the amazing thing about Reginald attended at HBCU when he graduated high school. And he, as a child, also, I want to mention that he also had a knack for business. He had his own paper route. So it was in him. And so at the age of 9, he said he wanted to be a millionaire. And so Reginald Lewis, who attended at HBCU, he ended up um, graduating and then entering in a Harvard program, right? He attended the Harvard program. And so this program it wasn't initiating him in as a student. It wasn't, I'm sorry, it wasn't initiating him in as a student. um, into the law school, but he attended this program. And Reginald Lewis is the only individual in Harvard's history to ever be able to become a student or get accepted into Harvard's law school without a without applying or going through the normal process because of how bright he was. And so upon him graduating, Reginald Lewis, what he does is he upon him graduating, what Reginald Lewis does is, how can I say, upon him graduating, he assumes his first position at a law firm on Wall Street. He later resigns from that position and starts one of the first black law firms, the first black law firm on Wall Street, right? And then Reginald. So as you see, like Reginald had many missions that he had to accomplish, right, to get to where I'm going to start talking about some of the some of his accolades, which is phenomenal. So Reginald Lewis uh, went from being a lawyer to being a venture capitalist. And a venture capitalist, I don't know if any of you, one of my favorite TV shows is Shark Tank. So I don't know if any of you know that show. I've also liked The Profit um, TV show as well. You guys should check those out. It's a lot of business ideas and business principles. But Reginald Lewis became an investor in businesses. Um, and so he was able to acquire this one company that, using a term, was it a business term called leverage buyout? Um, and so he was able to leverage enough funding to purchase the. He was able to to leverage enough funding to purchase the business, and hence, back in the 1980s, this man set on the Fortune, what is it, Forbes 400 top CEOs. Phenomenal, right? And he was running $1 billion company, but it was in his, it was a part of his dream as a child to become a millionaire. And so he was able to accomplish it. And so it took him being a visionary, even as a young child, and him understanding what he wanted to do. And he began to put things in places as you look at his life. He went to college. He went to Harvard Law School, right? That's a mission. He accomplished that. He became a lawyer at a Wall Street firm, right? He became a lawyer at a Wall Street firm, right? So that's a mission. And then he starts one of the first black-owned business, one of the first black law firms. That's a mission, right? And then you find him becoming a venture capitalist, stepping into a playground where most blacks were invited, and he was able to acquire uh, a $1 billion company, right? And so I say all this in all, one of the successful characteristics of being a business owner, right? One of the successful characteristics of being a business owner or an entrepreneur is being a visionary. You have to have the ability to guide your organization um, or your dream. You have to be able to direct it, to go on this journey to get to where you're trying to go, so that your dream can come alive. And so I want to thank you guys for taking the time to check out our first topic of this series, the successful characteristics of an entrepreneur. Um, I have a plethora of guests coming on. Oh man, these are phenomenal men and women with special talents. With special talents. And so the goal is to make sure we can make this to make business relative for you guys, so that you guys can understand, not only understand, but we can create conversation. It was a pleasure. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe to Leverage TV. Also, you can find us on Instagram. We at Lev Accounting, which is Leverage Accounting's Instagram. And so I look forward to connecting with you guys. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Be sure to check out our latest content by subscribing to Leverage TV. Make sure you like, share, and comment.